Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you all? Hello. Hi, Mridul. आप भी अपना कैमरा ऑन कर सकते हैं. You can
Good
be.
morning, Dr. Ji. How are you?
Good morning. Hello. Good morning, everyone. How are you all? So, yep, there are people and people over the YouTube as well. A few people have joined there also in YouTube. Yes, fantastic. There are also people who have joined in YouTube, guys. So I welcome you all. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So people are joining here. I hope we'll soon a good number. Right now, also there are, I think, 150 people. So hi guys, shall we start or shall we wait for a minute? I think we should wait for a minute and then we should start. Yeah. Good morning. By the time okay, so we have a lot of audience here, so we can ask them to write what they do, what's their name, and from where they are joining. Guys, please introduce yourself. Just your name, what do you do, and from where you are joining. Everyone, that would be a great help to know. And what's your background actually? Yes, everyone. Okay, Anjum Kadir loan Farm D fifth year. Fantastic. Looks like from Kashmir, Anjum, if I'm not wrong. Ganesh S, postgraduate from Chennai. Wonderful. Fantastic. Vikas Kumar, Mashur from the internship. Yes, amazing. Amazing. Okay. One sec, guys. I'll just come back. I request our YouTube people also to, introduce themselves. There are 15, 16 people, 20 people right now in YouTube as well. So, guys, yeah, they are writing. Okay, Susmita Das from Assam, Keshav Gupta from ISF Moga, Sachin from Bangalore, from Mumbai. Wonderful, guys. I can see the people pan India. They're joining us. Okay. Archana from Udupi. Okay. Kirtana from Hyderabad. Family interest. Wonderful. So most of the audience is from pharmacy background. That's great. That's great, guys. So let's start. Let's not wait much, guys. So again, I welcome you to this wonderful webinar which we have organized. And I think, everyone talks about clinical research and everyone takes it like this is a very common area to get into after pharmacy or after, nursing or any allied health sciences. And people, want to go to clinical research, right? But, they just understand clinical research by doing some project, by joining as a coordinator, or by joining as a research assistant. Only a few job comes in their mind when they talk about clinical research. They think they have to work on the patients, they have to, work in restricted scenarios, they have to work on ethics committee, they have to work on protocol. They think this way only, right? Clinical research, when we talk about clinical research, people just think they are talking about the institutional research. They are talking about, some kind of projects. They are talking about some, entry level jobs like clinical research coordinator or clinical research assistant. But let me tell you why I have organized this wonderful webinar is because clinical research is not just limited or restricted to these job roles, but clinical research is a wide wide area, and what we say, the ocean, what the word we have given the name. Okay. Everything, whatever you can think of after an allied science, graduation, or after the medical graduation, dental graduation, comes under the clinical research. Literally, I'm telling you why. See, when you go to medical writing, you go to pharmacovigilance, you go to clinical research data management, you go to clinical scribe, you go to any domain. Okay, these all are the part of clinical research. You might be knowing, you might not be knowing, you might not be able to differentiate between these parts, but these all are the subcategories and the career options under clinical research only. Okay, so to discuss the entire scenario, to discuss all the parts of clinical research, and to discuss all the career opportunities with us on the clinical research, with their titles, with their hierarchies, with their salary options, with their entry level jobs, everything. We have with us Dr. Mridul. Dr. Mridul Bothra is basically, her background is physiotherapy. She has done her master's and bachelor's in physiotherapy, but later she was too interested in clinical research. So she also did the professional diploma in clinical research. She has worked as research associate at Christian Medical College and Hospital Ludhiana, and she was a full-time research associate for almost 2.5 years. She was actively involved in writing research proposals, conducted, randomized controlled trials, multiple quantitative studies, qualitative studies, and she has wonderful expertise in clinical trials. And she has dealt with everything. Okay, so I especially requested her to deliver this lecture to all of you on this topic of clinical research. Right, guys? So I expect from you that you learn from her and you ask questions from her, to her, and try to get all the answers and try to resolve your doubts, and try to develop your interest in some specific areas. Okay, so that's why I have conducted this, I have arranged this webinar, wonderful webinar for all of you. But before we, hand over the mic to Dr. Mridul, I would like to say, guys, because you are almost spending next 1.5 hours with us, next 2 hours with us, we respect your time as well, and you all will get the certificate. But when you all have to fill the feedback form at the end, that we call it attendance form. Okay, so whoever will put the attendance in the form only will get the certificate. If you are telling, sir, I attended 1.5 hours, but I left just 10 minutes before you shared the form, I'm not going to accept it. Okay, so you all have to fill the feedback form at the end of webinar, then you will get the certificate. Okay, and the same thing, same rule applies everywhere, whether you are joining from Zoom meeting, whether you are joining in YouTube live streaming, everywhere we will share the link. You have to fill the form and you will get the certificate. And if you don't want the certificate, you can easily listen to the webinar, you can enjoy the webinar, and it's your choice. I have no problem in that also. Okay, so guys, now, yes, one more thing I wanted to say. We have started a very good course. I mean, you must have seen this. I'll just show you for a minute. So this course we have started recently, and our first orientation program is done, and we have completed one. We have started one full batch of 10 people, because this needs a very much end-to-end engagement, and this is something which is a dream for all the people to do. So I have kept the batch size of 10 only. Okay, batch size of 10 only. 1 or 2 people we have added to that. But if you want to join this course, we are coming up with a new batch. So this is a very specific announcement for all of you. So if you want to join it this week. Okay, so after that there will be no batches for next 3 to 4 months of this course. And this course, I'm telling you guys, this is like after a year, or almost a workup for 1 year we did, and then we came up with this advanced diploma in clinical research and project management. Okay, so this is how to become a clinical research investigator. This was completely made for all health science people, all healthcare professionals, especially MBBS and dental people who have a very less exposure into the clinical research, frankly, because of their work schedules, because of their work timings, because of their syllabus, because they don't have direct access to clinical research. So we made it for them, but it is not restricted for them. We have opened it for everyone. Anyone can learn, right? Either doctors, researchers, academicians, or any early career working professional, people from pharmd, pharmacy, nursing, physician's assistant, or any kind of person who is even in the public health domain. Anyone can join this course. This is having all type of things like from very basic of clinical research to advanced level of clinical research, like site setup, feasibility assessment, patient recruitment, retention, clinical trial operations, and budgeting, financial management, everything. And I mean, you will get everything, including quality assurance in clinical trials. Okay, so this is a 6-month course, and every Sunday 11 to 1 p.m. So this webinar is also a class for my student of this batch, because that's my duty to even uh, tell them about the career options. So this webinar is also a part of our clinical research project management batch, which is going on. So if you want to join this course, you please join us. Okay, you please join us. Our new batch is starting next week. Okay, so you all are requested, all are invited to join this course. If you want to join, you can go to our website, you can contact us, you can just message me. I'll give you all the details. My team will provide you all the details. So I'll stop here, guys. I'll not take much time because it's already 12 minutes post 11. Okay, why didn't you join as CP? Okay, yeah. So that is a very great question. I think someone has asked someone else, that we will answer later. I will come to this. Okay, guys, I'll come to this because it's a very interesting question. But right now it's time to go for the webinar. So over to you, Dr. Mridul, and thank you very much for joining and sharing your precious time and expertise with us.
Thank you, Dr. Ajit. Very good morning to everyone. And today, as promised, we'll be discussing career opportunities in clinical research. All right. Let me quickly share my screen. And what I want from you guys is to keep the class interactive. Okay. So because the topic is such that if you don't interact, if you don't ask enough questions, it will get too dry and boring. Okay. So let's keep the class interactive. Let's keep talking. Let's keep clearing each other's doubts and let's learn from each other. All right. So presenting to you career opportunities in clinical research. All right. Before we jump into the various career opportunities, let us quickly discuss what is research. All right. So by the end of this class, you will be learning all this. Okay. So my first question to you is, what does research mean to you? Okay. So what is the first word which comes to your mind when you hear the word research? Can I get some answers in the chat box, please?
Guys, engage, participate, then you will learn better.
One word. If you have to describe research in one word, what would that word be? Please put your answers in the chat box. Okay. Someone says finding, innovation, something new, discovery. Okay, innovation, invention. All right. Anyone else? Discovery of new things in different ways. All right. Okay, discovering about some drug, getting new ideas, repeat and repeat and discover the thing. Discovery. Okay. Any more answers? Finding new things. All right. Hypothesis, systematic investigation. Very good. Gaining more knowledge, new products, recreation, discovery of new ideas. Research means systematic investigation or study carried out to discover new information, establish facts, reach new conclusions, to make some new medicine. Okay. I hope you're not copying answers from Google directly. those who are writing complete definitions. Okay, development, exploring new things, new drug, research something new or work on something more innovative that has already been done. So most of you are correct. Okay, and you've shared very relevant information. All right. Okay. So research, as many of you said, it is defined as the creation of new knowledge, all right, or using the existing knowledge in a new and a creative manner. So as to generate, you can either generate new concepts, methodologies, or try to understand and solve real world problems. All right. Okay. So why do you think research is important? Anyone? Why is research important? Why are we conducting a whole 2 hour session on the importance of research and the job opportunities in research for that matter? Why do you think it is important? Anyone? Upgrading, very nice. To develop new ideas, correct. For development, updation, correct. Modifications, okay. It helps us learn the truth, solve problems, make better decisions, correct. Reduce the adverse effects, more efficacy, price concerns, correct. We can conduct new trials and modify, find answers to questions. All right. To create some new updates related to previous data, enhance efficacy for growing us. Right. Okay. So it adds to our existing knowledge. It helps us make new discoveries. It helps us to support development. It helps us to satiate our curiosity and inquisitiveness. All right. Okay. So coming to clinical research. Okay. So clinical research, it's the comprehensive study, okay, of safety and effectiveness of the most promising advances in patient care. So when research is related to patient care, okay, and when it is done with the whole and sole aim to improve patient care, okay, when our end goal is to improve patient care, to enhance patient care, to improve the quality of life of patients, that sort of research is known as clinical research. All right. Okay. So what are the different types of clinical trials? Okay. So they can be investigator initiated, which includes your investigator led trials, your contract research, or your collaborative research, which you can conduct with other institutions. All right. Clinical trials can also be sponsor initiated, okay, which includes your phase 1 to phase 4 trials or contracted professional services or consulting services, which includes tests and evaluations. All right. Now, there are 5 phases of clinical research. Okay. Preclinical of phase 0, which includes lab research to determine if the treatment is useful and safe. Since most of you are from farm background, you will be already aware of these phases. All right. But let's revise them quickly. Okay. So your phase 1 includes 6 to 10 participants. This phase mainly focuses on understanding the effects of treatments in human beings. Your phase 2 includes around 50 participants, and its aim is to evaluate safety and efficacy of the treatment. All right. Your phase 3 has between 100 to 200 participants, which confirms the benefits and safety of the treatment. Okay. Your phase 4 is to evaluate the long-term effects of treatment. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. So why is research important for pharmacists? Okay. So as a pharmacist, through this webinar and when you do research, you need to know about 3 questions. Okay. You need to know the answers about 3 questions. These three being, why is research important for pharmacists? All right. Why do you need to be in touch with the recent researchers? Okay. And why do you think as a pharmacist, you just don't have to do read researches. You have to be in touch with the recent literature as well as do research yourself. Okay. And why do you think as a pharmacist you need to do research yourselves? Okay. So here's what research helps you to do. It improves your knowledge, it guides your clinical decision making, it enables you to do evidence-based practice. And when you improve your knowledge, your practice is improved, your confidence improves automatically. All right. So research helps you build many skills. Okay. It helps you boost your creativity, your critical thinking, your logic, your knowledge on the topic. It improves your understanding. All right. How do you think our research related skills, which we just discussed, how do you think these skills are linked to your clinical skills as a pharmacist? Okay. How are these two interconnected? Okay. So research would help you to establish as well as develop an evidence-based practice. Okay. It will also help you to identify gaps in knowledge. What is already known about a topic and what is the missing link? What can be done to solve the real life or practical world problems? All right. It also helps you, efficacy of new interventions. It helps you to compare two interventions, and it helps in improving clinical efficacy. All right. So, based on this knowledge, can you think what are the must-have skills for a researcher? Can I get some answers in the chat box? This word cloud has many options, many answers in itself. Can I quickly get some answers? What skills do you think a researcher needs? Okay, critical thinking, teamwork. Anyone? New ideas, creativity, innovation, creative ideas, decision making, correct, courage, out of the box knowledge, innovative thinking, chemical knowledge and teamwork, literature review, coordination, okay, formulating hypothesis, all right, communication, very important, creative ideas, okay. Any more answers? Okay. Patience and perseverance, decision making, data analysis, same topic, different creative ideas to think, correct. Good clinical practice, searching, problem solving, reading skills, or teamwork. Okay. So you have given good answers. All right. So let us look at the important skills a researcher must have. Okay. So as a researcher, you must have a baseline knowledge about your subject. You must be positive. You must be motivated to do research. You must be curious. You must have a learning attitude. You must be honest to yourself and to your work. Okay. You must have patience. You should have perception and observational skills. All right. Okay. Now that we are talking about research, can you think we have almost 200 people here, more than 250 people here. Uh, can any one of you tell me what stops you from doing research? Okay. You've some of you have completed your bachelor's, some of you have even completed your pharmacy master's, and some are found the interns, and some are even assistant professors we have. So as
Guys,
a
this is a
professional
wonderful
or
question for all of you. This is a wonderful
as a
question for all of you.
as a professional, as a student, what things or what barriers do you face when you want to do research? Like, even if you have a thought that I want to do research, what things or what barriers you face which stop you from doing research? Can I get some answers in the chat box? Lack of confidence, lack of time, money, limited resources, lack of knowledge. Literature search is very difficult. Lack of exposure, lack of guidance. I think that not having knowledge, lack of guidance, financial burden, not having a completely new concepts, voluntary insufficiency, doesn't have clarity on skills and lack of confidence, lengthy process, system, lack of information, lack of knowledge. So one major point which everyone is covering is lack of knowledge, skills, and guidance. So trust me when I say this, by the end of this class, your lack of knowledge should improve by a bit, okay? And lack of guidance, CLIMED is here. I am here to guide you, okay? So from now on, if you have any questions, if you need guidance on how to, do your own research, we are here for you. We are here to guide you, okay? You can message us, you can put in your questions or email, and we'll get back to you. All right. So fear of failure. All right, that's a great answer. Takes guts to accept that. Poor research skills, analysis and data collection, lack of guidance. Okay, lack of funding, lack of patience. Patience is very important. Yeah, most of us have a lack of patience, but as you develop interest, and when you first complete your first research, when you get your first publication, all right, that takes a lot of patience. That takes you know uh, so much time and so much effort, but at the end of it, it's all worth it. All right. So you gradually develop patience. All right. When your love for clinical research takes over, you develop patience automatically. All right. Okay. So you have to change your I can't from your I can't to I can. Okay. All of you can do research. All right. So what are the barriers to research? So we can classify these barriers into professional barriers, clinician barriers, researcher barriers, and administrative barriers. All right. So let's look at the details of each of these. The clinical barriers could be clinical overload. You're too busy with patients. You have a lack of knowledge. You have a lack of positive attitude, lack of institutional support. You don't know where to begin. You lack a mentor. All right. So, as most of you said, lack of funding, lack of time, lack of resources. All right. Trust me, the journey, despite all these barriers, is worth it. Okay. You just should know how to start. You should just take the first step and start. Okay. And no matter how many difficulties you face, you'll reach the final step one day. All right. So, how to overcome these barriers? Okay. So you should constantly be upskilling your knowledge like you are doing right now by attending this webinar. Okay, you must have a positive attitude that you can do it, right? You should find good mentors who are there to guide you and support you through the process, right? You should not be afraid to try. What's the worst that will happen? You'll fail. It's okay. It's okay to fail. Okay. You must network and collaborate with other professionals. Okay. So again, a quick question for you. Before we jump on to clinical research opportunities, no matter if you are a student or an intern or a professional, where do you see yourself 5 years from today? Before we jump into uh, various job roles and its you know details, where do you imagine yourself 5 years from today, career-wise? Okay, senior position. Okay, does anyone have any particular position or any job role that you think yourself you'll be uh, good with, or you want yourself to be there? Okay, someone has written no, Nobel laureate panel. Great, great aspiration to have, Soumya. Clinical research associate. Okay, CEO of pharma company. Do you already own a pharma company, or do you plan to magically become CEO? Become a best lecturer for upcoming generation. That's great, man. Drug inspector. Okay. Clinical research associate or PV roles. CDM. Okay. We have another Nobel laureate panel. Okay. MPT, then clinic. Okay. So we have a physio. All right. So doing a PhD in oncology. That's very interesting. SAS programmer. All right. Clinical research. Okay. We have someone who would like to come into clinical research. Having a strong position in clinical research, perhaps as a CRA or CRM. Okay. R&D, company coordinator, medical affairs, drug inspector. Okay. So all of you have great aims. Okay. And you want to join the clinical research line. That's good. Drug inspector, RA. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, as a pharmacist, trust me, you have chosen a great line. You have these many options to pick your career option from. Okay. All right. But today we'll be specifically looking at job opportunities in clinical research. All right. So, can you take a guess? Can you name few career opportunities? You've already mentioned a few. Okay. Okay. Can you take a guess about the various career opportunities that we'll be discussing? CRA, CRC, very good. Okay, CRO, CDM, correct. Anyone else? CDM, all right. Okay. Can I get more answers? Regulatory affairs, correct? What are the entry-level opportunities for postgraduate doctors in India or abroad? We'll be coming to that, Kavya. Regulatory affairs, scientific writing, correct? Clinical trial investigator, correct? Okay. Junior research scientist. All right. Okay. So you have these many job roles. Okay. We'll be discussing each one of these in detail one by one. All right. Okay. So starting with the first job role, which is CRA or Clinical Research Associate. All right. So as a CRA, you'll be responsible for monitoring and managing clinical trials. Your key duties would include trial monitoring, management of different trial sites, data verification, regulatory compliance, patient recruitment and consent, and preparing the report. All right. So where all can you find your CRA jobs? In pharma companies, in CROs, in hospital and research institutions, and in biotech firms. Okay. So what is the salary and career growth as a CRA? All right. So entry level will be earning somewhere between 3 to 6. Uh, Mid-level CRAs get something between 6 to 12 LPA, and a senior CRA gets something between 12 to 20 LPA. All right. So you start as a junior CRA, you progress to a mid-level or a senior CRA, followed by a clinical project manager. All right. And if you continue to progress in the same role, you can even advance yourself to director of clinical research. All right. Okay. Okay. So why should you be working as a CRA? You get to work in drug development and patient safety. There's high demand and there are job opportunities across the world. You have the potential to work remotely and there's a lot of travel involved. So you get to travel internationally. Your career growth is strong and your salaries are very competitive. Okay. Next, we come on to the RC or clinical research coordinator. So as a CRC, you'll be working under the supervision of a principal investigator, okay, to ensure that the trial runs smoothly, okay. Your key responsibilities include patient recruitment and consent, trial coordination at site, data collection and documentation, regulatory compliance, adverse event reporting, liaison with sponsors and CRO, okay. So this CRC role is typically at the clinical trial sites, okay, and a CRA role is typically at the sponsor level or the CRO level. Okay, so you can get CRC opportunities in hospitals and medical research centers, research sites, government and academic research institutes. Then, okay, so you can start as an entry level CRC, progress to mid level CRC, and then a senior CRC. These are the relevant salaries for the same. All right. So you can even switch from a CRC role to a CRA role if you're interested. Okay, and then you can progress to a project manager. Okay, so why should you be working as a CRC? You get to work very closely with patients and research teams. You have the opportunity to grow into higher roles like a CRA or a project manager. There's high demand currently in hospitals and pharma companies and CROs for CRC roles. You get a strong foundation for future roles in clinical research and trials. Okay. So even if you are interested in a CRA role, I would suggest you to start by working as a CRC. Okay. So that you get to see the ground reality. You work in a patient related setup. Okay. And you actually get to know about the day-to-day struggles or day-to-day, problems that a CRC faces and what actually happens at the site. Okay. So when you switch from a CRC role to a CRA role, you will be able to understand in a much better manner the ground realities which happen at a clinical trial site. Okay. All right. So, based on this, can anyone tell me what are the differences between a CRA and CRC from what we have discussed? Anyone? Okay. Can I get some answers in the chat box? Can you tell me a few differences between CRA and CRC? CRA directly deals with patients, or CRC directly deals with patients, while CRA is responsible for visiting and auditing trial site. Correct? Any more differences? Very good, Adnan. Great. Anyone else? No clue. I would love to hear from you. I'm coming to that, Soumya. CRA who monitors the trials, correct? Okay. A CRA monitors multiple clinical trials. Okay. This seems like a ChatGPT copied answered. All right. Anyone else? CRA like analytical focus and CRA advisory focus. Okay. Interesting. CRC who does investigation. Okay. Anyone else? CRA has more filing works while CRC has more of field works. Even CRC has to do filing. A lot of documentation comes in CRC role as well. So when you're talking about clinical trials, documentation comes by default. Okay, there's a lot of documentation paperwork that's involved in a CRC role. All right, ma'am, is it a IT job? No, it's not an IT job. Is it a hard job? That depends. Okay, if you find uh, paperwork and that totally depends on you if you will find it hard or not. Okay, if you are interested in the subject, if you're interested in uh, you know patient care and clinical trials, you'll not find it hard. Okay, I've personally done a CRC job. I did not find it boring. I found it very interesting and even did it for around 3 years. Okay, so it's a good job. CRA means reporting any adverse events. No, as a CRC, you will be reporting adverse events, okay? Because those adverse events would be happening on site, okay? And you will be reporting them to your CRAs, and CRAs would be notifying the sponsors, okay? So the first step as a CRC will be reporting the adverse events, okay? So let me simplify this for you because many people get confused between CRA and CRC, okay? Their primary role as a CRC would be managing day-to-day clinical trial activities at the trial site. Okay. As a CRA, you will be monitoring and overseeing multiple clinical trial sites. Okay. So as a CRC, you will be working at one clinical trial site. Okay. As a CRA, you will be monitoring multiple clinical trial sites. So suppose, one trial is happening on 10 clinical sites in India. Okay. So as a CRA, it is possible that you are given 4 sites, okay, and other 4 sites or 5 sites for that matter. So those CRCs from 5 sites will report to you. You will check if their sites are compliant, okay, if their sites are following all the rules and complying with all the guidelines that are provided by your sponsor, okay. So as a CRC, you'll be working at a hospital, clinic, or a research site which is conducting the trial. So if you are someone, who does not prefer, who would not prefer to work at a hospital, clinic, or a research site, you should prefer a CRA role over a CRC. Okay. But if you are someone who loves patient care, who loves interacting with the patient, a CRC role is much better, fitting to your needs. Okay. So as a CRA, you will be traveling to multiple trial sites for monitoring. These monitorings can be field-based or remote. Okay. During COVID, they switched to remote mode, but now they are back to field-based. But some international monitoring still continue to be, remote. Okay. So These would be your responsibilities as a CRC. Okay. Everything that happens in a trial at the site level, as a CRC, you'll be required to do that. As a CRA, you'll be monitoring trial sites for compliance with protocols, GCP, and the regulations. Okay. You would ensure that the documentation is proper, they're reporting it nicely. Okay. You'll be conducting site audits and resolve issues. Okay. You will be reporting findings to sponsors or your CROs. All right.
There are some questions, Mridul.
Yes, let me see. Let me open the chat box. Okay. So I think but eligibility of CRA or CRC and opportunities as a physio. Okay. So there's no ground rule that physios cannot become, or a person from any medical background or a healthcare background can become a CRC or a CRA for that matter. Some relevant experience, be it in the form of uh, your research experience, if you have good research experience during your masters or your family for that matter, if you have some publications to show and some interest to show to your, interviewer or employer, I'm talking about in hospital settings. Okay, you can easily get a CRC job role in a hospital or in a research setting if you have some interest and some background to show. Okay, if you don't have any background in research and if you don't know the ABCs of research, okay, you can do a short course or a professional diploma like I did, and then you can start with, a CRC or a CRA role. As a beginner, as a fresher, I suggest that a CRC role would be a much better role to engage in. Okay, getting a job straight away in the industry as a physiotherapy student or as a physiotherapy graduate would be a bit difficult. But as a family graduate, it is a relatively bit easier. Okay, because you are much more oriented to clinical trials than physiotherapy students or graduates are. Okay, so you can either pursue a clinical diploma like I did. Okay, or you can have some background. I completed my diploma after joining my job. Okay, I had some experience with research during my masters. I had interest in job. My employer trusted in me. Okay, and I got the job and I started working as a CRC. I developed interest in that field and I continued to study and read more about it. All right. Ma'am, one trial involves how many CRAs? So that depends upon, the extent of trials and the number of sites involved. Okay, that I cannot specify the number. What needs to be done to become a CRC or a CRA? I've already specified that. I just okay. Yeah, we have to publish research article as a CRC or a CRA or in general. Vinay, I did not get your question. Can you rephrase it for me? Is BPharm graduate eligible to CRC? Yes, any graduate from healthcare background is eligible. I've done an article for my college. Okay. We have to do any particular job. We can do MPharm in any subject. Pharmacology. MSc in what field, Rudra? Is there any opportunity in clinical research? Again, as I said, you need some background or some connection with clinical research for that matter. Okay. If you have some background, you can get a CRC job easily. How to approach CRO companies for an intake? The first step of approaching is that difficult. It's not very difficult, trust me. If you're willing to try, okay, there are many job portals available these days. Okay, LinkedIn is a good portal to look job opportunities for. Many universities these days offer campus placements and stuff like that. So you have to decide that I want to get a job, and you have to have some clarity that you want a particular job role. Okay, you will definitely do want need to do some hard work. Okay, but it will be worth it. Okay, which other course should I do along with my B Pharm? So if you're particularly interested in clinical research, Dr. Ajit gave you a wonderful course to join. Okay. So those of you who are interested to, pursue a clinical research job can pursue that diploma. Okay. It would be very helpful. What particular companies are CRA jobs are you can get CRA jobs in pharma companies or in CROs, which are contract research organizations. For CRC job, we should do M-Pharm in which subject? Dr. Ajit, can you answer that question? I don't think like the
Which
subject.
one is that?
For CRC job, we should do M-Pharm in which subject? I don't think subject would
No,
make the
if you are B
difference.
Farm, it is enough. B Farm is enough to become a CRC, Clinical Research Coordinator. And if you really want to go to the higher job positions or hierarchy, you can go from any department, any M Farm, but most preferably that is M Farm Pharmacology or M Farm Pharmacy Practice. Okay. If you really want to join the clinical research and want to join as a hierarchy, in the hierarchy positions, in the higher positions, then M-Pharm Pharmacology or M-Pharm Pharmacy Practice are suggested. Okay, guys.
Okay.
I think there are a lot of things we can go ahead with the presentation and then we can take up some more questions.
Sure. Okay. All right. So as a CRC, your employers would be hospitals, research centers, or universities. Okay. As a CRA, you would be employed by pharma companies, CROs, or regulatory bodies. Okay. So as a CRC, your day-to-day interactions would be with patients, doctors, nurses, research teams. Okay. As a CRA, you'll be talking mainly with CRCs, PIs, sponsors, ethics, or regulatory agencies. Okay. So if you're someone who does not like to travel, who likes a fixed 9 to 5 sort of a job, and then a CRC role would be much more preferable to you. Okay. But if you're someone who loves to travel and, explore newer places, then a CRA job role is perfect for you. Okay. So CRC is best for those who enjoy working very closely with patients and research teams. Okay. A CRA role would be preferable for those who prefer monitoring, auditing, and compliance roles. All right. So, which role would you prefer? How many votes for CRCs and how many votes for CRA? CRC, okay. CRC, okay. CRC is winning so far. We have one CRA. Okay, all right. So I think I've convinced you to go into a CRC role. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Interesting. So the next job role that we'll be discussing is a pharmacovigilance associate. Okay, so as a PV associate, you'll be working with pharma companies, CROs, or regulatory agencies. Your job role would include case processing, data entry and signal detection, your regulatory compliance, writing PSURs, communicating with other health professionals, and literature screening. All right. Before we jump in further, can anyone tell me what the word pharmacovigilance means? Anyone? Studying ADR, someone said studying ADR. Assessment of adverse drug reaction. Study of adverse events, monitoring the ADR. Okay, reporting to ADR to keep watch. Okay. Jayashree, you are absolutely correct. The word vigilance means to keep watch or to keep a check. Soumya again says vigilance means to look around. Correct. Okay. So pharmacovigilance is pharmacy plus vigilance. Okay. To look around, to keep a check of whether things are going correctly. Okay. Whether rules and regulations are being followed, are complied or not. Okay. All right. Someone has written to ensure patient safety during post-marketing surveillance. Correct. Okay, pharmacovigilance is all about keeping track of drug safety after they're approved, spotting any side effects, and taking steps to prevent harm. Darshan, absolutely correct. All right. Okay. So, what are the job opportunities for PV roles? Okay. You can find PV roles in pharma companies, CROs, regulatory agencies such as FDA, EMA, CDSCO, WHO, etc. You can also find PV roles in hospitals and research institutes. Your salary and career growth in PV roles would be entry-level PV associate, followed by a mid-level PV scientist, followed by a senior-level PV associate. You can progress to PV scientist, PV manager, and then to PV director. All right. So when I mention about these salaries, these are just reference numbers, okay, and these may vary and fluctuate from across various companies, okay. But at the end of the day, what you should remember is that if you are dedicated, if you are hardworking, okay, you may start with a low salary, but you will find your way, okay. So as a beginner, as a fresher, don't run after numbers, don't join a particular job just for the sake of the salary. Okay. Salary is important, money is important, but don't just join a job for the sake of the salary. Okay. Learn, go where your interest is, follow that path, and money would follow automatically if you are hardworking enough. And if you actually have potential, money would follow you. Okay. So why you should be choosing PV roles? It's in high demand because the drug safety regulations are increasing day by day. You have the opportunity to work in pharma companies and global regulatory agencies. You have a good work-life balance. You have opportunities for career growth, okay, in drug safety and regulatory affairs. Anyone here who's interested in a PV role? Do we have someone who would be interested in getting a PV role? Okay, okay, all right. Okay. So anyone here who loves to write? Anyone here who's a writer? Because the next job role is for you. Okay. Okay. How many writers do we have here? Okay. All right. Okay. So can you take a guess? Okay. If Mansi has guess. Yes, it is medical writing. We'll be talking about medical writing next. Okay. So the next job role is a medical writer. Okay. So, as a medical writer, you are a professional who specializes in creating scientific documents, including research articles, clinical trial reports, regulatory submissions, medical education materials, and marketing content for healthcare and pharma companies. Okay. You play a very important role in translating complex medical and scientific information into clear, concise, and accurate documents. Okay. So as a medical writer, you may be involved in regulatory writing, scientific writing, clinical writing, medical marketing and communication, medical journalism, and healthcare content writing. Okay. So can anyone tell me what is the difference between scientific writing and healthcare content writing? Yeah, these are two drastically different fields. Can anyone tell me what the major difference is?
Guys, at least I can, expect you to be in behave, right? In a proper behavior, proper manners, though the things we have removed him, but I can expect my people, my students to be in behavior, right? Yeah, please go ahead,
Okay.
Mridul, no problem. That's fine.
Someone said scientific writing is all about publication of various papers such as research, reviews, correct. Scientific, I guess, related to scientist work and healthcare related to health. That's broad. Okay. Scientific writing is for professional form of healthcare. Correct. Someone by the name of Dua, you've given the very correct answer. So scientific writing and your healthcare content writing, the major difference lies in the target audience. Okay. Scientific writing, your audience would be healthcare professionals. All right. But your healthcare content writing, the audience would be common people, layman people. Okay. So the type of writing that you will be doing in scientific writing can include technical terms, can include a little bit of jargon here and there. But your healthcare content writing has to be very simplified, very clear and crisp, which even a layman can understand. Okay. But any form of medical writing for that matter. Okay. If you are as a medical writer, and take this advice from a content writer who's been working in the field for more than 7 8 years now, take this advice from me. Whenever you're writing any piece, okay, keep one thing in mind. Keep the first and foremost thing which you should keep in your mind is your audience. Okay. Keep your audience in your mind. When you're writing, think of them, okay, and then write. Okay. Your aim is that he or she, your audience, should be able to understand what you write. Okay. Regula- Regulatory writing here, so your, you know, writings would go to regulatory bodies. Okay. So you need to follow the guidelines which they expect you to. Okay. You need to mention all the terminologies correctly. Okay. Scientific writing, your clinical writing would be addressed to your healthcare professionals. Okay. So address them, think of them. Okay. But that does not mean while you can use technical language, while you can use scientific language, you still have to follow some rules and regulations, some guidelines. Okay. But at the same time, keep your audience in mind, think of them. Okay. And write in such a manner that even if someone who is not from your own background, okay, from not from your profession, tries to read that article, okay, he or she would is able to understand some part of it. If not completely, they are able to understand some part of it. Okay. Scientific writing or medical writing does not mean that you have to use very complex language, difficult words, and make it difficult unnecessarily. Okay. The only goal which you will be achieving by making it, difficult is that nobody would be reading your article. Okay. The simpler you write it, the clearer you write it, the more audience your pieces would generate. Be it scientific writing or be it marketing and communication, journalism, or your content writing. Okay, so always keep your audience as the priority. Think of them while you write. Okay, do we have some questions? Regulatory writing related to government approval. Yes. Medical journalism is used to report research, recent research finding in the healthcare sector, correct? Okay. All right. Okay. So as a medical writer, the job opportunities you can find in pharma companies and biotech companies, CROs, healthcare and medical communication agencies, publishing companies and journals, regulatory agencies. You can even freelance or do independent consulting in the longer run when you have, uh, you know, some testimonials to uh, support your career. All right. So the salary and career growth comparison is shown here. So you start as an entry level medical writer, you progress to whichever domain you want to specialize in. Okay, then you can progress to senior medical writer, principal medical writer, followed by a medical writing manager or director. All right. So why should you be choosing medical writing jobs? It's in high demand. You have the opportunities from work from home, and you also get freelance opportunities, which is not the case with many, job roles. Okay, there is no direct patient requirement, interaction requirement. Career is relatively stable, and there's potential for growth. Okay, okay. So, are you someone who loves doing everything by the books and follow rules diligently? Okay. If you are someone who follows this profile, the next job role is for you. Okay. Any guesses which job role we are going to talk about? Any guesses? Can I get some guesses? Any guesses, guys? MSL. Okay, MSL is coming. Regulatory affairs. Okay. Any more guesses? Okay, regulatory affairs. Okay, okay, okay. RA. So you are correct. We'll be discussing regulatory affairs specialist job role. Okay. So it's a specialized field in the pharma, biotech, and medical device industries that ensures compliance with global regulatory requirements. So you get to work with government agencies to get approvals for drugs, medical devices, biologics, ensure that their safety, efficacy, and quality is appropriate before they reach the market. All right. So as a RA specialist, your roles and responsibilities would be to participate in regulatory submissions, compliance management, labeling and packaging compliance, drug safety and PV support, communicating with regulatory agencies, conducting post-marketing surveillance, and regulatory intelligence. All right. Okay. So various job opportunities for a RA specialist, pharma and biotech companies, medical device and diagnostics industry, CROs, regulatory consulting firms, then your healthcare and government regulatory agencies. Okay. Why should you be choosing a regulatory affairs role? It's in high demand, the salaries are good, you get the opportunity to work with global regulatory agencies. You have the scope to transition into PV roles, clinical research, or quality assurance roles. Okay. So this is all about RA specialist role. Okay. Next, we move on to uh, a managerial role. Can you take a guess? Are you someone who has managerial things, who thinks of themselves as a, manager-like person? This is, of course, not an entry-level job, but let's talk about it. Anyone? Can you take a guess? What job role are we going to discuss now? Then, okay, if someone is written project manager, CDM, correct?
Guys, do you want me to stop this meeting here or I'm serious? Because I cannot tolerate this behavior. अब ज्यादा हो रहा है, ठीक है? I have removed him twice. Yes. Who is this? Yes. You feel I'll not reach you?
Okay.
What do you think, man? Huh? Can you please let us run this class? Or shall I call you personally? Please go ahead, Dr. Mridul. Please go ahead. Don't worry. You please go ahead.
Okay. So coming on to clinical data manager role or CDM, as someone rightly said. So as a CDM, you would be. So some people are requesting to speak in Hindi. Anyone here amongst the audience who does not understand Hindi? Anyone? Okay. We have some people
He is
who.
asking who does not understand Hindi, not who understand Hindi.
No. I think like people from South are there who. Okay, I'll try to use a mix of English and Hindi.
Yeah,
Okay,
that would
but
be great.
wherever you don't understand, please, you know, you can. Okay. So as a CDM, your role would be in clinical trials to ensure कि सब कुछ accurately with integrity चले, ठीक है, and जो clinical trial का data है that remains secure, okay, उसकी safety maintain रहे, okay. So as a in this role, your major role would be to supervise, okay, the research team. All right. You work with pharma companies, CROs, hospitals, and biotech firms. Okay. So as a CDM, आप data collection करेंगे, validation करेंगे. You can even go in database design and management. Quality control and compliance कैसे करना है, that you need to take care of. You need to participate in what is called as data cleaning and query resolution. Okay. सो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल साइट्स जब कोई डेटा एंटर करती हैं, ठीक है, यूजली देयर इज अ सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोवाइडेड बाय द स्पॉन्सर और द सीआरओ जिसमें आपको आपका पेशेंट डेटा एंटर करना होता है, ठीक है. देन एट द लेवल ऑफ द सीआरओ और द स्पॉन्सर दिस डेटा इज वेरीफाइड एंड चेक्ड कि उसमें कोई इनकंसिस्टेंसी या कोई मिस्टेक तो नहीं है, कोई फील्ड छूट तो नहीं गई है, ठीक है. फिर वो उसको चेक करते हैं और इस प्रोसेस को हम डेटा क्लीनिंग बोलते हैं. उसको चेक करते हैं इफ इट इज एक्यूरेट और नॉट, ठीक है. देन इफ देयर आर एनी इनकंसिस्टेंसीज और इफ देयर आर एनी डाउट्स व्हिच द स्पॉन्सर हैज और द सीआरओ हैज, वो क्वेरीज रेज करते हैं, ठीक है, टू द साइट. एंड देन द साइट आंसर्स कि हाँ इसकी क्लैरिफिकेशन ये है या ये डेटा हमने इसलिए इस पर्टिकुलर रीजन के लिए नहीं एंटर किया था, वी हैड दिस डिफिकल्टी. ओके. सो वो जो क्वेरी रेजोल्यूशन वाला पार्ट है और जो डेटा क्लीनिंग वाला पार्ट है, दैट अ सीडीएम डस. ओके. You get to collaborate with clinical teams. All right. So your career growth and salary as a CDM, you start as a clinical data coordinator. You progress to a clinical data manager, CDM lead, followed by a director of data management. Okay. This is the salary comparison between India and abroad for, during a CDM role. All right. So moving on to next role, do you think you can be a subject matter expert and can possibly educate others? Okay. Are you someone who loves to teach and educate others? Can you take a guess what role we are going to discuss next? Can you take a guess? Anyone? Okay. Someone is saying academic person. Okay. Any more guesses? Someone mentioned this job role in the previous question. I'll give that a hint. Okay. So we are talking about something called as a medical science liaison, okay, or an MSL role. Okay. So as an MSL, you act as a scientific professional who acts as a bridge between the pharma, biotech, and medical device companies and the healthcare community, providing scientific expertise and resources to clinicians and researchers. Okay. So as an MSL, your major role is to participate in scientific communication with HCPs, healthcare professionals, and research sites. Okay, you get to build relationships with key opinion leaders. These key opinion leaders can be your senior doctors, experienced professionals in the domain जिसमें आपका clinical trial चल रहा है. ठीक है, these can also be policy makers या government officials. Okay. You provide them with medical affairs support. You stay informed about latest research because you are the subject matter expert. You are expected to know everything that there is to know about your particular subject and जिस भी subject में आप अपना trial कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. You will be involved in a lot of training and education, ठीक है. Data analysis would be your role, and then providing feedback on that analysis, okay. ठीक है. So suppose as an MSL, your major role would be कि आप जो स्पॉन्सर जो ट्रायल करना चाह रहा है, आप उसको सिंप्लीफाई करके इन एन इजी लैंग्वेज आप एक प्रिंसिपल इन्वेस्टिगेटर को या एक रिसर्च साइट जो आप कंसिडर कर रहे हैं कि हमने ट्रायल में इंक्लूड करनी है, आप उनको कैसे समझाएंगी या उनको सिंप्लीफाई कैसे करेंगे कि हम ये पर्टिकुलर ट्रायल करना चाह रहे हैं, वी वांट टू डू दिस, वी वांट टू अचीव दिस, और आवर ड्रग वर्क्स इन दिस पर्टिकुलर मैनर, उसके ये एडीआरस अभी तक हमने टेस्ट किए हैं, या ये ऐसे वो पेशेंट्स को बेनिफिट करेगी. एवरीथिंग देयर इज टू नो अबाउट अ ट्रायल. The person who explains this to the healthcare professionals is an MSL. Okay, so you act as the missing link between the sponsor or the CRO to the हेल्थ प्रोफेशनल. ठीक है. सो फार्मा इंडस्ट्री और जो ग्राउंड लेवल पे जो प्रोफेशनल्स जो ट्रीट कर रहे हैं एक्चुअली पेशेंट्स को, जिनके लिए हम ये सारा प्रोसेस कर रहे हैं, जिनके लिए क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स करे जा रहे हैं, ठीक है, उनके बीच में जो ब्रिज है, उनके बीच में जो इंफॉर्मेशन कम्युनिकेट कर रहा है, दैट इज एन MSL. ठीक है. सो प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड द ग्रेविटी एंड द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ दिस रोल. ओके. ऑलराइट. So the various career prospects in an MSL job are, you start as a therapeutic area specific. इसमें very important is that you have a specialization, that you have a particular domain in mind कि मेरे को, suppose you are interested in oncology. Okay, so you become an oncology MSL, or you are interested in hematology or say immunology. Okay, क्योंकि आप एक्सपर्ट एक स्पेसिफिक डोमेन के ही हो सकते हो ना. यू कैन नॉट से कि मेरे को सारे सिस्टम या सारी स्पेशलिटीज का सब कुछ पता है. दैट इज प्रैक्टिकली नॉट पॉसिबल. ओके. तो you start with a specific therapeutic area. Okay, then you can progress to senior MSL and regional MSL manager, MSL director, or head of medical affairs. Okay, various specialization roles are oncology, neurology, immunology, hematology, etc. Okay, so globally opportunities are available. You can even transition into leadership roles such as medical affairs director, chief scientific officers, etc. Okay. Okay. Ajit sir, I don't think I can continue with this class.
I believe so. Okay, so one thing I'll do.
I am getting very offensive direct messages. I can take a screenshot. I can share it with
Yeah,
you.
please take the
But
screenshots and please send it
I
to me.
I don't think I can continue this. People are
No,
taking
no.
undue advantage of
Yeah, exactly.
a free class. I don't
True,
think
true,
people
true, true,
deserve
true,
this.
true. This is happening for the first time
If
in our class.
if they pay this, if they pay for this, they'll not behave in such a manner.
Yeah, true.
I
Okay,
don't have
so
any, fun in spending my Sunday 2 hours teaching you guys for free
no,
and
definitely,
then getting this
definitely.
in return.
I'm
I
so
don't
sorry.
deserve
I
this. I
apologize
don't
for this.
deserve this.
I apologize for this. I'm very sure that what
I
measures we can take right now.
I WhatsApped you, sir. This is just, beyond.
I can understand this is happening for the first time in any online class. Otherwise, this is something. Uh, so what we can do is, guys, see, we can completely ban the chat for everyone. No one can chat in the. So we'll complete the class, and I am so sorry for everyone, guys, that you will not be able to even get the certificate, frankly, because I'm not going to share any kind of thing. I'm literally disappointed, and I can take actions as well. Okay. So if you can behave properly, I think we can stop their chat. No one can chat now. It's okay, let it be, it's fine. They cannot even send the messages. That would be great. You please continue, Dr. Mridul, it's completely up to you. I won't force you, frankly, because I'm conducting these free webinars for some, reasons, so they can study, they can, literally get some insights. But if they don't want, I'm so sorry, I cannot help. So I will just keep that participants can chat with no one. You please try if it is possible now. If you're still getting, then uh, we can wind up here, no problem at all. It's fine.
Okay. So let me just take a minute.
And we are
Okay.
not entering any new person in the chat right now, so no one can enter.
All right.
Yeah.
So as an MSL, you would be getting this much salary, India versus abroad. Here's the comparison. Okay. So why should you be choosing MSL roles? Bridges the gap between science and business in healthcare. Okay. It bridges the gap between pharma industry and uh, the healthcare professionals. Okay. You have the opportunities to work with key opinion leaders. There's high demand in pharma and biotech companies. You have continuous learning in medical innovations. Your job roles are flexible and you have field work environment. Okay. Your career growth is into medical affairs leadership roles. You have a competitive salary and global opportunities. Okay. The next job role which we will be talking about is bioequivalence study analyst or a BSA. Okay. So as a BSA, you will be playing a key role in analyzing and interpreting data from bioequivalence studies. So bioequivalence studies, what they do is they compare a generic drug to an innovated or a branded drug. Okay. These studies are conducted to ensure that generics have the same efficacy, safety, and absorption profile as such original drug. Okay. So as a BSA, you will be included in, you'll be involved in pharmacokinetic analysis, bioanalytical testing, data interpretation and reporting, statistical analysis, and regulatory compliance. So as a BSA, you will start as a BE study analyst. You can progress to pharmacokinetic scientist or a BE study lead. You progress to clinical pharmacology lead or regulatory affairs specialist. Okay. As a BSA, you would be at this is a salary comparison between India versus abroad for various BSA roles. Okay. So why should you be choosing BSA roles? The demand is in there's high demand for BSA roles. Regulatory compliance and drug approval process, you get to be a part of it. You have great opportunities in pharmaceutical and CROs. You have hands-on experience with clinical trials and data analysis. Okay. Uh, there is career growth into regulatory affairs, clinical research, or quality assurance. All right. And you get to contribute to public health and drug safety. So I was very excited about this particular role. I'm trying to get back my enthusiasm. So the best job role out of the ones we've discussed so far, the most fulfilling job role is coming next. Okay. I cannot ask you to take guesses because you don't have the opportunity to chat anymore. So drum rolls, please. So we'll be discussing clinical pharmacists in research hospitals. This role is personally very close to my heart. Okay. The reason being this particular role, this particular, uh, you know, role was unfamiliar to me. But when I worked as a CRC myself, I had the opportunity to work with a clinical pharmacist in the team. Okay. And that was the time when I learned that you guys have so much potential. Okay. I don't come from the pharma background, but my experience of working with a pharmacist, okay, and seeing how they can contribute effectively in patient care and how they can help in improving, healthcare outcomes. You guys are fantastic at what you do. Okay, you just have to believe and you have to, have the potential that you know what you're doing. Okay, So, as a clinical pharmacist, you play a very important role in patient care, clinical research, and drug therapy management. Okay. So, unlike traditional pharmacists, clinical pharmacists work directly with healthcare teams. Okay. They get to attend rounds with doctors, they get to suggest doctors, they get to correct them if they are wrong. Okay. So, you guys are the experts when it comes to medicines. Okay. A clinician would prescribe 20 medicines or 10 medicines depending upon all the symptoms or all managing uh, the complexities of her disease. But as a clinical pharmacist, it is your role to see the chart, to correct the clinician if something is wrong. If you think drug interactions are causing a problem, if you think the the patient cannot afford the prescription. Okay, so stuff like that you have to inform the clinician. Okay, so you have the potential to save lives, to inform the clinician if there are any dangerous drug interactions that you find. Okay, it is okay to correct the mistakes of clinicians. Okay, because even clinicians, even the most experienced clinicians, no one is God. Okay, our ultimate aim as a healthcare professional is to maximize, to optimize patient care. Patient comes first. Okay, he or she should be doing well. Okay, so as a clinical pharmacist, it is your job role to correct the clinician wherever they are they might be wrong or they might be making a mistake. It is very much possible that they have been doing some minor mistake from the pharmacy point of view. Okay, from prescribing the wrong dosage, or the wrong duration or the frequency of a drug. So even very small or very minor mistakes can happen. Okay. So as a clinical pharmacist, that is your job role. Okay. And not just that, you get to participate in clinical roles as well as clinical research. Okay. So you get to work with uh, complex medical cases, you get to work with the best of the clinical professionals. Okay. And your knowledge improves. All right. So, and the most important part is that you get to see the ground level realities, the ground level challenges, or the ground level struggles which a clinician face, which a research teams face, and which the patients face. Okay. So before you progress into industry roles or the roles which we discussed previously, I would highly suggest you to go and do a job as a clinical pharmacist. Okay. Because the empathy and uh, the clinical skills which you will be developing after this job role, that would be with you, that would stay with you for your lifetime. Okay, because you get to see the effect of research in real time, how it is benefiting the patients in real time. Okay, and what are the challenges, what are the struggles you know that happen at the ground level. Okay, so even after even if you progress into industry roles or pharma industry, after doing a clinical pharmacist, you will be always better at your job than someone who does not have this experience. Okay. So this is a very fulfilling role. Okay. So as a clinical pharmacist, your job role would be patient care and medical therapy management, as already discussed. You get to participate in clinical research and trials, PV and safety, regulatory and documentation work, and training and education. Okay. So you start as a clinical pharmacist, you can progress to a CRA or investigational drug pharmacist. You can progress to director of pharmacy or clinical research director. Okay. The various specializations you can choose is oncology pharmacy, cardiology or critical care pharmacy, pharmacogenomics and personalized medicine, regulatory affairs and clinical trials. Okay. So this is the salaries which you'll be getting as a clinical pharmacist in various job roles. So why should you be choosing clinical pharmacist role? I have covered this enough, but we'll quickly see. So direct patient impact is there. You get to collaborate with healthcare teams. There are opportunities in research and innovation. You have diverse career pathways. The job role is in high demand and career growth is there. You get to work with regulatory and policy roles. Okay. Moving on to the relatively senior level job opportunities in clinical research. Okay. So the first one being PI. Okay. This is a very senior position. That means you start research by yourself. You are a PI. Okay. So a PI is the lead researcher responsible for designing, conducting, and managing clinical trials or scientific research studies to ensure that the study follows ethical, regulatory, and scientific standards while overseeing the research team. So you have a whole research team to manage in spite of these other duties that we just discussed. Right? So you will be involved with study design and research protocols, regulatory compliance and ethical approval, patient recruitment and data collection supervision, budget and fund management, team supervision and collaboration. You analyze your study findings and publish them. So this is the salary and career growth as a PI. Okay. So next we move on to leadership roles in clinical research. Okay. There are three leadership roles which we'll be discussing. Okay. These are clinical research manager, director of clinical operations, and chief scientific officer. Okay. So in leadership roles, your major, responsibility would be strategic planning, regulatory compliance, team being a team leader, and decision making in clinical trials and drug development.
Much.
Okay. So as a CRM, you oversee the planning, execution, and monitoring of clinical trials to ensure that there's compliance with GCP, ICH, and FDA EMA guidelines. Okay. Your responsibilities would be managing clinical trial design, budgeting, and timelines. You ensure that the regulatory compliance is there and sponsor and CROs are coordinating well. Okay. You oversee CRAs and CRCs. So it's a position above the CRA. Okay. Your CRAs, many CRAs would be reporting to you and you would be overlooking multiple clinical trials. Okay. You get to participate in clinical trial data and preparing study reports. Okay. This is the salary comparison. You start as a CRA, you progress to a senior CRA, then clinical research manager, followed by a director of clinical operations. Right. Next job role that we'll be discussing is a director of clinical operations. All right. So a DCO is responsible for multiple clinical trials across different regions and ensure that they align with the company strategy. Okay. So as a DCO, you'll be leading clinical trial execution at the global level. Okay. So you'll be overlooking multiple countries. Okay. You'll be managing clinical research managers. So the hierarchy would be CRAs reporting to clinical research managers, and this collectively, many clinical research managers would be collectively reporting to the director of clinical operations, who would be overlooking the clinical trial at a global level. Okay, so you would be looking at the budget of the clinical trial, choosing the various vendors for clinical trial outsourcing. Okay, you will be ensuring that all regulations are followed. Okay, you'll be collaborating with RA, PV, and medical affairs teams. Okay, your salary would be somewhere between this range. Okay, you start as a clinical research manager, followed by an associate director, followed by a director of clinical operations. Okay, the last and the final role which we'll be discussing today is the chief scientific officer. Okay, so as a CSO, it's an executive level job who's responsible for R&D strategy, innovation, and scientific leadership in pharma companies, biotech companies, or healthcare organizations. Okay, you'll be leading drug discovery, clinical trials, and regulatory strategies. You'll be overseeing scientific research teams and data-driven decision making. You'll be managing collaborations with regulatory bodies, developing and patenting new drugs, vaccines, and medical devices. You get to represent the company in scientific conferences and investor meetings. So your salary would be somewhere in these ranges. Okay. You in progress from director of clinical operations to VP of research, followed by a CSO. Okay, so let us quickly look at the comparison of the leadership roles. As a CRM, you oversee clinical trials and regulatory compliance. As a DCO, you lead multiple clinical trials at an international level. And as a CSO, you'll be leading R&D strategy, innovation, and drug development. Okay. So how many job roles did you know about this before this class? I hope I was able to add something to your knowledge, something more to your knowledge, and these 2 hours were fruitful for you. Okay. Which job opportunity did you find the most interesting? The chat is closed and you cannot answer. Okay. So if there are any doubts, you can email them to us because we cannot allow the chat to be opened.
Uh, Hi, Dr. Mridul. First of
Yes.
all, I am so sorry and I apologize on behalf of CLIMED and on behalf of everyone that, this was too much. I cannot even show them what kind of messages they sent. But guys, this is really disappointing. I'm really, very much disheartened by this behavior. Uh, and the
Guys,
messages,
you are going to be professionals. If you
no,
cannot
definitely.
if you cannot grow beyond this foolishness or stupidness, you'll go nowhere.
Yeah,
I am so sorry that
absolutely.
you are going to be nowhere in 10 years.
They are nowhere going. They're nowhere going.
You
If
you you you
they
guys don't
can,
deserve to be called professionals. If you can stoop so low that in a professional webinar you're sending such messages, I am very disappointed. This is like probably the
no,
worst
this
class
is
or the worst experience. And trust me, I've taken like more than 50 to 100 classes in the last 2 years.
absolutely,
I've never
absolutely, and
encountered this sort of behavior in any of my class.
I am so sorry, Dr. Mridul, for
This
this.
this this,
And
this has been like really disappointing. And
yes,
just for
and
the sake of those two, three people, the rest 250 are suffering.
yeah, and I'm telling you guys, I recently met Dr. Mridul in Chandigarh University. She has taken the same slides, the same session for Chandigarh University students. And I was very much impressed, literally, very much impressed how she has taken, how she has interacted, and how she has come up with such a wonderful, 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 plan for, students, and how did she take those, all the career options comprehensively. So I thought like I should do it for my all the students free of cost as I do always. But I have never faced this situation in our webinars or seminars, and I literally apologize from the climate side, Dr. Mardul, and this was completely, unacceptable behavior. Not only unacceptable, I'll say these people will never grow. Frankly, I'm telling you, these people with this mindset, they don't grow. They just stay there wherever they are. Such abusive language and such offensive language, no one right, and no one behave like this. And guys, I'm so sorry. I am again sorry. I'll not take up any questions today, uh, even from you people, right? It's very disheartening. And even no certificates for anyone, literally, I'm telling you, no, I'm not sharing the link. I wanted this to, stop in between. I have conducted this because you all, have spared the time. You all have come here. So I requested Dr. Mridul in between, like, you please go ahead, because such messages, what they sent to her was completely, irresponsible and abusive behavior. Okay. So I really can't accept. These people have come up with the names, such fake names, Sivani, Ria, and all these things. I understand these things, and you don't worry. I have their email IDs. Email IDs cannot be hidden, right? They can make, they can change the names, but they have the email IDs. I can reach them definitely after this, and you know they have to answer for this. They have to answer for this. So I'm so sorry, guys, and I would like to thank you all, whoever genuinely, attended this webinar, and we have to wind up here. Thank you very much, and Dr. Mridul, I'm so sorry for today's behavior and today's, incidents, whatever has happened. But I again would like to thank you for joining us for this wonderful webinar, and Again, I apologize on behalf of everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Mridul.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.